Hey there, Jennifer here. Thank you for joining me. Today I'll be showing you how to make an adjustable ring. This is also often referred to as a magic ring or a magic circle. In fact, in this video, I'll likely refer to it both ways at times. That's okay. It's pretty interchangeable. This technique is really handy for projects that are worked in the round, like hats, toys, and amigurumi. Unlike other methods where you might work the first round of stitches into a chain or a chain ring, this method won't create a hole in the center of your circle. If you've been looking around for tutorials about this technique, you've likely already noticed that there are many variations for how to make a magic circle or adjustable ring. But what I will show you today is my all-time favorite method because it's the only way that I've found that truly stays closed. I learned this technique way back when I was making a lot of amigurumi, and now I use it to start all of my projects that are worked in the round. Whether you're making a stuffed toy, a hat, or even a granny square, I know this will become your favorite method too. To begin, let's take our yarn. This is the tail end over here, and this is the working end connected to the ball. Go ahead and wrap the tail end around your pointer and middle finger 3 times. You can hold the working end with your thumb. That could help you out a little bit here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then come back around and hold the tail end between your ring finger and your middle finger. That just helps keep it taut so that this next section will be easy. So once again, bring the yarn to the front and hold it between your ring finger and your middle finger, and then hold down the working yarn with your thumb against your middle finger. Go ahead and grab your hook and insert your hook underneath those first 2 strands. Grab the 3rd strand and pull it underneath the first 2 strands. At this point, we can go back and yarn over with the working yarn and pull it through. That creates kind of a chain that'll hold everything tight, especially for this next step. So now we want to remove the magic ring from our fingers. The easiest way to do that is just to hold it with one hand and slip your fingers out. And there you are. You can see that that chain does kind of hold everything together. All right, and at this point, you're ready to start your first round. Most likely your pattern will say something like chain 1, 6 single crochet in ring. So I know we made this chain to hold everything together, but that doesn't really count as your first chain. If your pattern tells you to chain something at this point, go ahead and add that chain, and then so begin your round completely ignoring the chain that you just made in your stitch count. So we'll go ahead and chain 1, and let's make 6. We'll do 6 single crochets into the ring. So go ahead and insert your hook into the ring. So we're going to be working over both of those strands. So into the ring around both of the strands. Yarn over and pull through the ring. Yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. So again, I'm going to insert my hook into the ring, yarn over and draw through, yarn over and pull through both loops on my hook. Now you'll notice I'm using my ring finger, kind of hook that in there, and that helps to add some tension so that it's easier to work into the ring. I also tend to hold the strands between my middle finger and my thumb. That also helps to give some tension. Maybe that'll work for you, but you kind of find your way after doing it for a while. Over time, you come up with these tricks. So far now I have 3. Again, I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through. I think at this point I just need to make 2 more I'll go ahead and do that fairly quick. All right, so now I have 6, I think. This was the chain that we started out, the chain 1 that started out the round. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6. At this point, we're ready to close our ring. If you find that your hook is getting in the way for this step, it's okay to take it out. I would just pull out your loop a little bit so that you don't lose your stitches. And then just put your hook down. So go ahead and hold the stitches that you just made, the ones that are closest to the tail, the first ones you made. Hold those between your thumb and forefinger in one hand. Then we're going to pull on our tail to close the ring. But pay special attention to which one of these loops, these big loops here, pay attention to which one gets smaller. So I'm pulling on the tail. I think I see that this one is getting smaller, right? Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and pull on the smallest loop, the one that got smaller, still holding firmly but gently those first stitches of the round. I'm going to pull the larger or the smaller loop until the larger loop closes. And then I'm going to pull the tail end to close this loop. All the while I'm holding these stitches between my fingers. So go ahead and give that a tug, and ta-da! Check that out. It's completely closed. I can put my hook back on and finish out the round. Let's say that the pattern says to slip stitch in the first single crochet. So I believe this is the first one, but just to check, I always go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. This one is the first one, and I'm going to slip stitch into it. And there we are. Round complete. Round 1 complete. At this point, you could just go on to the second round. You're good to go. And look at how tight that is. That is one of the nicest things about this technique, is that is tightly closed and it's not coming undone. I guess the only drawback would be that if at this point you'd realized you hadn't made enough stitches, oh no, I need to add another stitch. Unfortunately, it's not very easy to do. Because it's so tight, there's not a lot of room there. You can wiggle it, but I mean, you can't get it open again. And so if you find you need to add more stitches, the easiest thing really is just to pull it out and start over. I know that is one of the drawbacks, but to be honest, I think it's worth it to be able to have a beginning round that is closed that tightly. But let's go ahead and do it again, just for the sake of showing you how to do it. I'm going to walk through it fairly quickly this time. I'll put my hook down. Once again, you're going to take your tail end and drape it over your hand. Hold the working end with your thumb against your middle finger. We're going to wrap it around our pointer finger and middle finger 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Bring the tail end around to the front again. Hold that with your ring finger against your middle finger, and again your thumb is holding down the working yarn here. Insert your hook under the first 2 strands and grab the 3rd strand. Pull that through under the first 2 strands. Yarn over with the working yarn and pull through the loop that's on the hook. And that creates our chain. At this point, we can go ahead, and I like to hold the chain so that it's easy to wiggle your fingers out. And then you are all set and ready to begin working into the ring. I'm going to chain 1 to get started, and then I'm just going to single crochet 6 stitches into the ring. So again, you insert your hook into the ring around those two strands, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through the two loops on the hook. Insert your hook into the ring, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two loops on your hook. I'm going to go ahead and finish making a few more single crochet here. I haven't been counting, but I think it might be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so at this point, I'm going to take my hook off just briefly so I can close up this ring. Again, we have those two loops. I'm going to hold it so that the first few stitches are held between my finger and pointer, my finger and thumb. I'm going to pull the tail and see which one of these two loops gets smaller. All right, I think it's this one. This back one here. So that one's the long one. This is the shorter one. I'm going to pull the smaller one until the other one closes. Pull it pretty tight. And then go ahead and take the tail again and pull that until the other loop closes completely. Yep. And then you can put your hook back on the loop back on the hook, and slip stitch in the first single crochet, and you're ready to go with round 2. You can use the adjustable ring method with any type of stitch. In addition to single crochet, try it with a half double crochet, or treble crochet. Just about any stitch will work. You can even use it for combination stitches, like V-stitches, clusters, or shells. Let's take a look at this method with double crochet stitches. Once again, remember this is our magic ring. Remember that that's the chain that I used at the beginning just to keep it all together. I'm going to go ahead and chain 3. This usually counts as the first double crochet, but your pattern will tell you for sure. Once I've chained 3, I'm ready to go ahead and make my next double crochet into the ring. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the ring, yarn over again and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. And there's my second double crochet. And you can go ahead and just keep going. Once again, I think especially with these taller stitches, holding the ring open with my ring finger does really seem to help. If you're able to give that a try, you might want to. I feel like you get a lot more control over the strands and allows you to work into the ring pretty quickly. So I'll go ahead and make a few more double crochets just to show you again how this goes. Yarn over, insert your hook into the ring, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 more. Let me just make a few more so this will look like a nice circle when we're done. So just as we did before with the single crochets, I'm going to go ahead and hold the first stitches between my thumb and forefinger here. Then I'm going to pull on the tail and pay attention to which of those loops get smaller. It looks like that one's pretty easy to see. I'm going to take that smaller loop, the loop that got smaller, and pull it until the other loop closes completely, or as close as it can get. And then I'm going to take the tail end and I'm going to pull it until this loop closes. Ta-da! And you can tug it a little bit more if you need. And then I'll go ahead and typically the pattern will say to join or slip stitch in the first, or in the top of the beginning chain 3. So let's go ahead and slip stitch there. And that's our round completed. Now, one thing that always kind of drives me a little nuts is that space in between the chain 3 and that first or second DC. That always drives me a little bonkers. What I like to do instead, this is another little trick. So instead of chaining 3 to start my round, I might just chain 2. And that'll get me to the height that I need to make the next double crochet. So I'm not going to count this chain 2 as anything. I'm just going to ignore it, but I will make 10 double crochet in here to show you that what this does. It kind of fills in that gap pretty nicely so that you don't see. I mean, when you have this wonderfully closed circle in the center, I hate to see a gap like that between any of the stitches. So I'm just going to make 10 or so. And once again, I'm not gonna, when I count this, I'm not counting this chain 2 here. I'm going to count that first double crochet. So not counting the chain 2, that's the first double crochet there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. For consistency's sake, I'll make 2 more. So you can see what this looks like. Okay, so once again, I'm going to hold these stitches, pull on the tail till this one gets smaller, to see which one gets smaller. Pull on the one that gets smaller until the other loop closes, and then pull on the tail until that loop closes. Now we've got a nice closed circle. Cinch it up as tight as you can. So satisfying to do that. And now, instead of, remember, we're totally disregarding those chains that we started with. And in fact, this right here is the first DC. If you need to check, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's that one. So we're totally disregarding those chains, and I'm going to slip stitch into the first DC. And see, no more light through there. And typically what ends up happening is that depending on how many stitches you have in here, typically the chain 2 will just kind of hide behind this stitch, the stitch to the right of it, and so you don't even really know it's there. It's just filling in that gap, really. But I feel like that's a nice way. It looks so much better than the chain 3. And once again, all you have to do is just remember not to count that chain 2 as anything and slip stitch into the first full DC that you made. The adjustable ring is a versatile tool that every crocheter should have in their toolbox. Try substituting it whenever you see instructions in a pattern to, for instance, chain 2 and single crochet in the second chain from hook, or whenever you see instructions to work into a beginning chain ring. Give it a try, and with practice, I think you'll be pleased at how it improves the look of your projects. Well, I think that about covers it. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and that you'll get a lot of use out of this technique. Thanks again for joining me. Until next time, happy stitching!